about your defense. You got a Villanova. How do you think you guys held up?
I don't think so great. I thought the first half it was, we're not exactly a great zone team. So that says something that we played more zone than we played man-to-man tonight. So, we got a lot of work to do. Back in the day when Megan played, it's what we used to do to teams, backdoor layups, wide open threes, all that good stuff. So a lot of our young guys and even our older guys, they're just not there, not there yet. But second half, we were a little more active, talked a little bit better, like I said earlier, we're a work in progress on defense. And we've got, 3 days off, and then we've got to the 29th to get better.
You've also talked about your upperclassmen and wanting to know exactly what production you can expect from them consistently. Did they take a positive step toward that tonight? Kristen, Olivia, Avina, all for the most part?
I believe so. I mean, I thought this was Avina's best game by far since she's been here. She hasn't played in a long time. We were going to ask her to play 30 plus minutes for sure, because, we're down two players. And I thought she was outstanding. I thought this was by far her best game in every category. She shot the ball pretty well. She, facilitated really well, got her hands on some balls, rebounded. If you say, well, look, you're going to get 17 and 8 or 17 and whatever from me every night, wow, and then Liv commits like some silly fouls that's got to get cleaned up, but Liv had a huge advantage in the lane today, so you have to take advantage of that, because we knew it was going to be a struggle at the other end, because she's guarding much more mobile, smaller players. And I thought she had great patience, and she did a great job in there, And this was another all-around good game by Kristen, not just a shot the ball well kind of game, a get to the basket game, a rebound game, a lot of really good stuff. And, so when the three of them are able to do what they did, that just takes a lot of the pressure off everybody else.
How about Paige? How pleased were you with her decision-making and aggressiveness on offense in particular?
In the second half, great. In the first half, she still passes up, shots for whatever reason. I just think when Paige shoots the ball, it's going in the basket. So anytime she passes up an opportunity, I'm like shaking my head. But again, she had to play a lot of minutes. So for a young kid, what's she shoot from the floor today? 7 for 15. She didn't make a three, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Hey, that's become like almost an average game for her, huh?
Thanks, Coach.
Aaron Bracey, you want to go ahead?
Hey, Coach, just wondering what your feelings were coming back to your hometown area after being a while being here, and especially with Harry not being here, and like what kind of memories and stuff came forward.
I came over to the gym today. Got here a little bit early. I told Harry and I talked. He was going to meet us here for shoot around, and we got a chance to catch up for a long time. He watched the whole shoot around, and it was just great. It was great to see him. Hell, I remember Harry and I go back to when I was an assistant coach at St. Joseph's, and he just got the head coaching job at Villanova 40 some years ago. And we've played each other, I don't know how many times, so it was really, really great to get caught up, talk about our kids and what's going on in our lives. And I got here early enough. I wanted to make sure I saw Jay. They were working out, getting ready to leave for Marquette. And we got caught up a lot. I just really admire these people, and Jay has the best job in America. I think Jay has the best job in the world. Forget America, in the world, in any sport. Great school, amazing place. He's the best league. He's done an amazing job. I mean, 2 national championships. He's a Hall of Famer. He's rich. He's good looking. It's good to be in his company. It's good to be him. And I don't know if anybody hasn't been to this building since they redid it. Oh my God. It's magnificent what they've done here. I walked around the concourse, looking at all the kids that played here when they were kids that I got to know a little bit, watching them on TV. And then I got to meet a bunch of them and, afterwards, playing golf with Billy Melchione and playing tennis with Franny O'Hanlon, and just brought back so many memories. And that's just, you can't put a price on that. And the tomato pies I'm bringing home and the cheesesteaks I'm putting on the bus and the Zeps that you can only get in Norristown. I wish we played here twice a month. Not necessarily Villanova, don't get me wrong, I only want to play them once. But I wish we played in Philadelphia twice a month.
Joe Zone, you want to go ahead?
Geno, you go from playing no games to 4 games in 8 days. I wonder if that's about as far as you want to push those kids. That enough games in that amount of time?
Well, especially down Nika and Aaliyah, especially down 2 kids that, were probably in our top 7. So without those 2, if we had to play 2 more games this week, let's say, if we had to play Thursday and we had to play Sunday or something like that, yeah, I don't know if we could, really function well like that. But I thought we sucked it up and did a great job. 4 games, 2 of those were on the road. It was grueling, and you don't have a chance to prepare much. You have day off. I mean, you play, practice, play, 1 day off, practice, play. So I hope that we can get into some sort of routine, but I don't see it getting any better. I really don't. Not with the way games are canceled and then have to be slotted in there in the middle of other games. So it's just going to be stay light on your feet, be able to roll with the punches. And so far we've done that.
Michelle, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, thank you. Coach, if I could ask you a little bit about the scheduling with the changes now, you have some time off, and then you have the 2 ranked opponents back to back. And I know there's a lot of time between those games, but what do you think from what you've seen from your kids so far that you're gonna get from playing teams that are different but both challenging, like DePaul and Baylor?
Well, I know one thing: if our defense doesn't get a lot better, we're going to have to shoot 80% from the floor in both of those games, and I don't know that we're going to do that. So between now and the DePaul game, our defense has got to get a lot better. And certainly going down to Baylor, forget it. I mean, their size and their athleticism. So it'll be 2 games against 2 teams that play a style that we haven't seen yet. But at the end, of all this, that's why you play these teams. DePaul, they're in our league, and I love playing them because of the challenge that they provide. And then Baylor, because those are the teams you're going to want to beat in March. So you find out in January, where do you stack up? And the great part about it is, I said this for 100 years, right? Every time we play one of these big games, the best part about playing these teams in March and February, and why I love to do it, is it's just a measuring stick. Like, where are we? How are we doing? Because if you play great at Baylor, win or lose, if you play great at Baylor, then you can probably play against anybody and be successful. If you handle DePaul's pressure and you handle their movement, just like that's another team like Villanova, except on steroids. If you can handle yourself as a young player, that bodes well for what's going to happen in late February and March.
Thank you.
Alexa?
Hey, Geno.
Hey,
Could you give us a little bit of an update on, it sounded like what Aaliyah and Nika are dealing with are kind of knick-knacky things that they just need to kind of rest, and then they'll in theory be back for the holidays, but could you go in a little bit more depth of what they're dealing with, and are they definitely in theory good to go for DePaul?
Well, Nika for sure. Nika's more of all right, let's shut it down and let it heal. And it will. And it has, for the most part. And her stubbornness probably got her in trouble because she probably didn't let us know early enough that it was bothering her back when it started bothering. So she'll be good to go, barring any unforeseen circumstances. Aaliyah, before we came here, just rolled her ankle on somebody's foot and, freak basketball things. And I would expect, but then again, these young kids, you don't know how injuries affect them. So she's a really tough kid. She plays hard. She's competitive. So I'm guessing that, between now and when we get back for practice again on the 26th, she's going to be 100% ready to go. So I expect to have everybody ready for DePaul.
We'll go to Doug and then Sean.
Hey, Geno. Just wanted to ask you about Siegrist, and obviously this is your first time facing her. Just what were your impressions and kind of, the job you did on her?
She's really, really, really hard to play against. She never stops moving. She plays with a certain aggressiveness. I don't know what she finished with tonight. Let me check. 6 for 22. Yeah. I mean, we made her work. We made her work really hard. But she's really, really difficult to defend. For a young kid, who's only a sophomore, 4 games into, or actually they played 7 games into her sophomore year. I love the way she plays. I love her toughness and I love her aggressiveness and how she can, make a 3, score inside. She reminds me, an old-fashioned player that, back in the day, just show up in the gym, didn't care who they were playing against, and you knew that she was just going to battle you. And she's skilled, and I love her attitude. I love her leadership out there. I'm just really, really impressed with her.
Sean and then Dan Connolly.
Coach, you always say these wins are hard to come by, Big East especially. Put a perspective on where your team is right now as you head to the break and get to the other side.
I've always said, coming down here, it'll never be easy. In the hallway leading up to Villanova's locker room, it's really cool. They have this thing there called moments of greatness. So I had to make sure I read the whole thing. I walked all the way down the hallway. They have like 7 things. Like 4 of them were like beating us in different stages, knocking off UConn, who's number 1, ending UConn's winning streak in the Big East tournament. I mean, it was just like, and as I'm reading it, I'm like House of Horrors, like So coming down here is always very, 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 very difficult to win at Villanova. Maybe as difficult as any place in the league in all my years at Connecticut. All my years at Connecticut. I don't care if we were the best team in America and they were the worst team in America. I never felt comfortable coming down here that it was going to be easy. Next thing, playing in the Big East isn't going to be easy. Now, we've played some games where we've made it look easy, but that's because these teams haven't seen us in a long time. Once they start seeing us and getting a feel for us, this is going to change because you've got teams that, you know, they figure things out pretty quickly. And you can tell, you know, that second half, you know, after we did some things, you know, Villanova figured it out pretty quickly. So right now we have a huge talent advantage. No question about that. No question about that. But winning in the Big East and winning on the road, from what I remember, is really hard. And I don't expect it to be any different.
Go to Dan and then Megan.
Geno, after the UMass Lowell game, you said that you wanted to just keep playing games. You thought you were sick of practice. All the players were sick of practice. With 5 games now under your belt and a lot more practice time coming up, is it going to be good to get back in the gym on a more consistent basis and work on some things, or would you rather just keep playing games?
No, we've accomplished that. You know, we've played, like you said, 5 games, and now we need to get back in the gym and see, because we practice September, October, November, or actually October, November, whatever you want to call it. And what you found out in practice wasn't really true a lot of times. What we found out these last 5 games, that's true. So now when we go to practice, we can point out on film and their recollection. Look, I don't care what happens in practice. You know, I tell you every day in practice, we got to get better at this. Well, here's an example of why. So these 5 games have given us a lot of information to work with, but now we need to get back in the lab, so to speak, and we got to start putting that information to use.
Megan, you want to go ahead?
Sure thing. Hey, Coach, you were
Hey.
just talking a little bit about going up against Harry Peretta when he was coaching for the Wildcats. Now facing Denise Dillon, one of Harry's former players. How would you describe what it's like coaching against her? Do you see any similarities between the two?
Yeah, similarities for sure. You know, Denise had a great career as a player, and she had a great career as a coach at Drexel, and very successful career. And, you know, she's not a Harry copycat. She's not coming to Villanova trying to be the next Harry. But her style, her personal style of how she wants to coach is very similar, but it has her take on it. And, you know, she's got Joe Mulaney on the bench, who was here all those years with Harry. So there's some continuity there. So a lot of the things are very similar, but there's also a difference. But, you know, I also think that because of the success that Villanova has had, and the university, especially, obviously, I got to believe that kids like Maddie Siegrist and of that caliber, and more so, are going to become more prevalent here at Villanova, and it's going to be tougher and tougher to beat them. So I've always liked Denise. I liked her in high school, you know, when we tried to recruit her a little bit, but, you know, she went to Cardinal O'Hara, and, you know, generally those kids, they don't want to go get a visa to leave Springfield or Upper Darby or any of those places.